Imagine being strip-searched by police officers who are desperate to find a single, highly specific scar on your body, only for them to discover a secret that could destroy your entire career. The world thinks it knows the story of Michael Jackson's children. But tucked away in a 2005 medical report is a single sentence that changes everything we thought we knew about his biological legacy. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the evidence that was never meant to be unexposed. For decades, the public and the paparazzi played a relentless guessing game. They looked at the fair skin, the light eyes, and the European features of Prince Paris and Blanket, and they reached a collective cynical conclusion. There was no way these children belonged to the king of pop, but they were looking at the wrong clues. The real proof was buried in a mountain of court filings and clinical testimonies that the media ignored. When the state of California put Michael Jackson on trial in 2005, the prosecution wanted to paint him as a master manipulator who used his wealth to construct a completely fabricated life. They scrutinized everything, from his finances to his medical history. But in doing so, they inadvertently entered a series of highly confidential dermatological records into the official court record. These weren't just standard doctor's notes. They were the highly detailed, decade-long records of Dr. Arnold Klein, the Beverly Hills dermatologist who treated Michael for his severe disfiguring skin conditions. But here is the question that should keep you up tonight. If the public was so convinced Michael had bleached his skin to erase his African-American heritage, why did the court's medical examiner write down something that proved the exact opposite? The answer lies in the autopsy report that would eventually leak to the public years later. Dr. Isdavaishanali, Christopher Rogers, the deputy medical examiner who performed the post-mortem, formally documented that Michael suffered from vitiligo, an autoimmune disease that destroys pigment-producing cells. It wasn't a cosmetic choice, it was a physical battle. The autopsy noted patches of light and dark skin across his chest, abdomen, face, and arms. To manage this, Michael had been prescribed powerful depigmenting creams like Binoquin and hydroquinone to even out his skin tone. This was a confirmed medical reality, not a tabloid conspiracy. But the implications of this diagnosis go far deeper than Michael's own skin. Vitiligo is not just a random occurrence, it is a hereditary condition. Genetics play a massive role, with a family history of the disease present in about 30% of patients. If Michael Jackson truly fathered his children, the genetic markers of his autoimmune struggles would inevitably have to show up in his offspring. When in 2005, a legal bombshell dropped. Debbie Rowe, Michael's ex-wife and the mother of Prince and Paris, took the stand. What she said under oath didn't just rattle the jury, it completely dismantled the fairy tale of their happy, unconventional marriage. Debbie Rowe had met Michael while working as a medical assistant in Dr. Arnold Klein's office. She was the one who applied his vitiligo treatments, witnessing his physical pain and emotional insecurity firsthand. When Lisa Marie Presley divorced Michael, leaving him devastated that he might never fulfill his dream of becoming a father, Debbie made him a proposition. She offered to bear his children as a gift. But during her testimonies and subsequent custody hearings, she admitted that she never had a traditional marital relationship with Michael. In fact, she stated they never had sexual relations. She was artificially inseminated. This admission immediately ignited a firestorm of speculation. If Debbie was artificially inseminated, whose genetic material was actually used? The media immediately began pointing fingers at Dr. Arnold Klein himself. Rumors swirled that Klein had used his own sperm to father Prince and Paris, a theory that Klein fueled for years with cryptic public statements and side-by-side photographic comparisons on social media. The public devoured these rumors, convinced that Michael was merely an adoptive father hiding behind a legal shield. But the legal documents tell a far more complex story. This brings us to a shocking piece of photographic evidence that surfaced in 2010. One that the mainstream media tried to explain away, but fans immediately recognized as a genetic fingerprint. While vacationing on a beach in Hawaii, a 13-year-old Prince Jackson was photographed by paparazzi. The images showed distinct, stark white patches of depigmented skin under his arm, It wasn't a sunburn, and it wasn't peeling skin. It was a classic manifestation of segmental vitiligo, the exact same hereditary autoimmune disease that Michael Jackson had spent his entire life trying to hide from the world was now visibly appearing on his eldest son. The genetic odds of a non-biological child developing this specific, relatively rare condition are astronomical. For supporters, this was the definitive smoking gun. It proved that despite the lack of obvious physical resemblance and skin tone, the genetic thread between Michael and his children was unbroken. But skeptics remained unmoved. They argued that vitiligo can occur spontaneously, or that Prince's condition was simply a convenient coincidence. Tell me in the comments, do you think a skin condition appearing in the exact same way is a mere coincidence, or is it undeniable genetic proof? Write down your theory right now, because the medical community is deeply divided on this. But what if the real secret isn't who the father was, but rather what Debbie Rowe signed behind closed doors to keep the truth from ever reaching a courtroom? When Michael and Debbie divorced in 1999, she signed away her parental rights to Prince in Paris in exchange for an $8 million settlement and a house in Beverly Hills. She explicitly stated in her court filings that Michael was a wonderful father and that she had no desire to raise the children herself. She famously said, "I did it for him to become a father, not for me to become a mother. You earn the title parent. I have done absolutely nothing to earn that title." However, after Michael's arrest in 2003, Debbie suddenly returned to court seeking to reinstate her parental rights. She claimed that she was concerned about the people Michael was surrounding himself with and wanted to ensure the safety of the children. This sudden shift threatened to expose the highly private arrangements of their conception. During this intense legal battle, the court files were sealed, but transcripts leaked that showed the legal teams fighting fiercely over the validity of the original surrogacy agreement. The prosecution wanted to use Debbie's testimony to prove that Michael's family structure was an artificial construct designed for public relations. But just as the prosecution thought they had the ultimate weapon to destroy Michael's credibility, Debbie Rowe did something completely unexpected that threw the entire courtroom into chaos. Instead of attacking Michael on the stand, Debbie defended him. She testified that he was a loving, attentive father who put his children above everything else. She discredited the prosecution's claims that Michael was a danger to his kids, effectively neutralizing her own previous legal arguments. This dramatic turnabout left the prosecutors stunned and secured a massive victory for Michael's defense. Why did she change her tune? Some believe she was legally bound by strict non-disclosure agreements, while others argue her love and respect for Michael outweighed her legal battle. What we do know is that the true nature of their biological arrangement remained protected behind a wall of high-priced lawyers and sealed court documents. Ultimately, the debate over Michael Jackson's biological legacy may never be fully settled by a piece of paper. The legal agreements, the multi-million-dollar settlements, and the whispers of secret sperm donors will always provide fuel for skeptics. But science and medicine have a way of leaving footprints that lawyers cannot erase. The 2005 medical reports and the subsequent autopsy of 2009 confirmed that Michael Jackson's physical transformation was rooted in a genuine, painful struggle with vitiligo. And when that exact same rare condition manifested on his eldest son, it spoke louder than any tabloid headline ever could. It suggests that behind the carefully constructed illusions of Neverland, a very real, very human genetic legacy was passed down. Whose side of this debate do you find more convincing? Do you believe the medical and genetic evidence of vitiligo is the ultimate proof of paternity? Or do you believe the complex custody agreements point to a different truth? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this investigation eye-opening, make sure to subscribe and check out our next video on your screen right now.